Wow, wow, wow. I had to make this tutorial. I mean, I don't need much of an excuse to make a tutorial. You all know that. But super excited about this one. I mean, you can hopefully hear it in my voice. I am just blown away by the way this request came in. Meredith Johnson, she knows I love her. And my goodness, she has outdone herself. Incredible how all of this has been done. I mean, just incredible the way she's tagged the right people in the group. She has told us about the sizing. She's told us what it's going on. She's given us the colors. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do this, right? You don't have to do this good of a job. It's also, she told us they'll be ordering 50 t-shirts, That helps. I mean, it's nice to know that she's ordering 50 transfers, and so the team can really spend a decent amount of time on this and not feel like we need to rush through and just knock it out super fast, which we try to knock things out quick no matter what. But now, look at this. I mean, she has literally given us, I don't know if she made this. I don't know where this came from. It's amazing. But she's literally given us this visualization. So we know we don't have any questions, You can see this outline of Texas as whites. And, she's submitting us an image that is whites, which is what we prefer. A white background. I mean, we prefer transparency and like perfection, of course. But, super nice to have this white background image with this black defined. See, that black is defined. And there's a lot of work to do to clean these up. That's what I'm going to show you in this tutorial. I mean, this is going to take, buckle in. I mean, I'll try to make it shorter for the viewers, but this could definitely take a couple of hours to get this ready. And so, I'm just mentioning that because, you get somebody that's going to work on something for you for a couple hours. You want to give them some respect. You want to give them what they need to succeed, and that's what Meredith has done here. So I just absolutely appreciate it. I can't thank you enough. And we're going to get after this and start cleaning up this image. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is determine a plan of attack. So we've got these two to go with. And yeah, I'm just pointing out, these are black because it's against a white background. This is great for vector tracing. But obviously we're going to have to turn all the black elements white since they're going on black shirts. And I think that, we're better off starting with this one. Much better off. And then we'll get these elements and then we'll put them to good use here. All right, let's start by making a folder. So we need a name for this. So this is going to be Unlimited Concepts 40 years. Now I'm going to make a folder here, Control-Shift-N, Concepts. All right, or just Concept, usually what I do. I'm going to make another folder, I call it Pieces. And then we're going to load all those images in here. And the mock-up, I'm going to save it right here in the main folder because that just helps you see what's going on when you first get to the folder. All right, so here we go. We've got our concepts in there. We're going to change our view to large icons so we can see things. That's our pieces folder. Let's change that to large icons. Okay. So I'm going to start by bringing this into Photoshop. You can do everything I'm going to show you in Photopea. Photoshop's the best thing for this. It's just the way to go. I just closed all my other things. I mean, Photopea can do everything. It's just for me, I'm working in Photoshop because that's the best thing for me. It is the best thing possible for me. It's the best program, and I just don't have to think like as hard as I have to do when I'm in Photopea. So I just opened this straight up, but I'm going to close it because before I get started, I'm just going to upscale. So let's go to upscale. You get this from upscale.org. It's totally free. I love telling people that. And I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab this pocket concept and open it up. And I'm going to go yeah, I mean, this is pretty good. It's just a pocket, but we also have to think that we got to knock these backgrounds off. I'm going to go big. I'm going to go 6,000. Plan on doing a really good job on this one. And we're going to check for any kind of problems. It has changed the color, but we've got color specs. So that's freaking awesome. All right. So now that's just right back here in this upscale. So I'm going to actually open this with Photoshop. And then I'm really trying to set a good example here. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Like, I don't need that anymore. I can always upscale this again. And it's just taking up room on my hard drive. All right, so now we've got a really good image here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by selecting this black. So I'm just going to turn off contiguous. I'm going to select all the black. And I'm going to grab my lasso tool. I'm going to hold Alt, and I'm going to deselect these picky parts right here. So I just don't want this 40. We know we're going to have to use the 40 again. Okay, so down here it's getting difficult, and I'm kind of like stressed out. So I'm just going to miss that part, and I'm going to miss that part. I'm ready for it to be over my selection process, and I just did that. So, all right, so this right here, I'm going to come in. I just hit Control Plus to zoom in, and I'm going to get rid of that part, and then I'm going to get rid of that part. I'm hitting Alt to deselect. Okay, and I think that I've got all my black. So I'm just going to hit Control C, Control Shift V. And I would like to make these vector objects, but I don't really need to. What I do need to do is I need to make this, I'm going to do solid color. And I'm doing this for your all's benefit and my own. Show you that there's fake outlines. So that's what fake outlines or fake edges do. And then, you know, I can turn this to whites and I can really see what I'm doing here. All right, so I need to take this and do blending options. Lots of different ways I could do this, but the very best thing is for me to use, for me to just set the color. Okay, so see there it's 00001. Here it's 010101. The color is all different and there's different shades. And that's just going to make the printer be less predictable. You know, your black's just not going to be black, right? So we're going to do blending options, color overlay, black, 0000, the real black. And then I'm going to show you, if we look at this against black, that now it's completely gone. So if I turn the effects off, you can see those fake outlines. Turn it back on, and they are gone. So there's no edge there. Okay, let's grab these other elements. So we're going to do the same thing with the gold. We grab our magic wand. I'm set at 80. Contiguous is off. And we're going to grab all this gold. And that looks like a clean selection. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm leaving this 40 separated because we know we've got to put that brushed gold metallic finish on it later. So we don't want this to be part of our selection. All right. So I'm just going to select the correct layer. There's our background. Control C. And then I'm going to do Control Shift V. And then we're going to check those hex codes that Meredith sent. So there's the hex code. It is, wow, is it linked? Okay, no, it's just hashtag. Sorry, I got distracted. She did such a good job with this request that I was like, did she like put a link to the color? All right, it's just Facebook. We're going to do same thing. We're going to do blending options, color overlay. And then we're going to choose, I'm just going to paste in that copied hex code and hit OK. And so that's all perfect. And we can look at that against black. Ooh, I see a little bit of oddity there. We're going to take a look at that. Looks like it just picked up some odd stuff there. Let's see. Not sure why it picked that up, but it is there. And I see some other specs. So what we could do is we can do blending options, stroke, and we'll put it around the outside, and we'll choose like a hot pink, And then we'll just bump it up a little bit, and it's going to show us our mess. Whoa! Okay, so yeah, I really have a lot of mess on here. All right, so let's just get rid of that. So let's take this stuff. Always makes me nervous when I make a mistake like that. It's because I was using, having contiguous off, and I was kind of trusting that the image was pretty clean, but it was not. And so now I'm just selecting all this, trash, and just avoiding the stuff that we want to keep. So I always tell people when I'm doing a lot of selecting, maybe it's just to fill the time, but you can go turn your mouse speed down. So if you have trouble drawing like I am, some of it is, I've been working with Photoshop since 1997. Others is just because I've got tricks and my mouse speed is way down. So, all right, so we're just going to hit delete on that. And then I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put a stroke on this one now too. I'm just nervous. Let's put a stroke around the outside. Let it set it to that hot pink. And we're going to hit OK. We'll make it a little bigger. Yeah, so I didn't have that problem with the black. I just had that problem with the gold. And probably because it's such a light color and there were little pixels that were that look white, but actually were just kind of a light goldish color. All right, so now we can turn that stroke off. We can turn this stroke off. And those two parts are clean. And now we can turn off this black and turn off our background and see if there's anything we're missing. So all we have left is our big 40. Okay, so let's isolate it. So I'm going to take this layer right here, and I'm going to control click it. So by control clicking it, I held control and clicked it. I selected all the pixels on that layer. Now I'm going to hold control shift and control click this layer. And so now I've selected all the pixels on those layers. Then I'm going to do select, modify, expand. I'm going to go outside of it. So I'm actually expanding outward and making sure that that's not going to touch any of the other elements. And then I'm going to paint a mask. So I'm going to do Control-Shift-N for a new layer. I'm going to call it Mask. I'm going to grab my paint bucket tool. I'm going to make sure I'm on black and white. So I just click that to make sure I'm on pure black and white. Flip my white to the front. And then I'm going to drop paint on that layer. Now I'm going to take these layers. I'm going to call this gold. And I'm going to call this black. And then I'm going to grab both of those and hit Control G, and then I'm going to call this group artwork. Okay, now I'm going to hide that group. And so when I hit Control D to deselect, I've got an isolated layer. But I haven't actually destroyed my original. See, it's still back here. I've just got a mask of white covering up all the other elements. And that's going to help us because now when we do this, since I've got pure white on here, when I grab my magic wand, I leave contiguous off and I select this gold. I'm actually going to shift select it in a couple of places to make sure I pick up all the variants of gold. And that's just going to really make that gold get into all those little cracks and crevices. Now I'm going to do Control C. Oh. Got to select the background layer, not the mask. Control C. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to do outside of my artwork, Control Shift V, just for now. And this is going to be my gold 40. And now I'm going to select my black. And I don't have to be as worried about selecting different colors of the black, but I'm just doing it anyway to be a good example. And then I'm going to do select, modify, expand. So I don't want there to be a gap in some of these places. So I'm just going to expand it by 1 pixel. I'm just going to make sure that black is 100% connected to that gold. And we could even zoom in and look at that. So let's see what we've done here. So here, see that black? I mean, it's just going to make the black a little bit fuzzier. That's interesting. Yeah, let's come in here. Let's shift select that. Ah, no. See what that's done. You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to Control Z that. Because I want to preserve those. I want to preserve that transparency. So I've just formulated a different plan in my head, but I'll show you. We'll layer this gold and this black together to make the black layer. Okay? And let's think about this. We're putting on a black shirt. So are we even going to have a black shadow or not? Let's go ahead and grab what we've got. Control C, Control Shift B. I'm going to call this 40 shadow, because that's really what this is. And let's see if we can't make it look nice. So let's take this gold, and we're going to open up our artwork layer. So in here, here's our color overlay. I'm just going to copy that, Control C, and I could just copy this layer style, and paste it right on that gold, and know that that's going to be the correct. And see, I got a little bit of jaggedy, and that's kind of just normal for using the magic wand. I'm not really proud of that, so I've got some solutions for that too. So hang on. Now let's grab our black. Let's think about what to make this one. All right, let's copy this layer style. Well, we already have it, don't we? We can just paste that layer style. And then let's look at how to, let's find this color. Let's grab our magic wand and pick this color. And then let's just lower the brightness. So we've got hue, saturation, and brightness here. Let's go way down. Let's go 25. And then we can try setting our color overlay to that. So I think that could give us a shadow on a, that could give us a shadow on a black shirt, that we could still see. And then we can look at things here and see what we want to clean up. So I'm going to grab my brush tool, and I'm just going to pop that little part right there. I'm not sure why that didn't work. Control D. Oh, because it's on the gold 40. So let's hit E. Grab our eraser tool, select that gold 40, and get rid of that. I don't like this little tatter right here. I just don't like it. And I guess I'm just showing you this so you can just feel empowered, right? Let's just get rid of that. Turn off our background so it's not distracting. And then you could do things like this. You can just decide, I don't like that, And you can have fun with this and go all the way around it, however you like. All right, let's try to make this cleaner. So we're going to go, I'm going to save this. This is a great time to save. Turn off my mask. I'm still not bringing those into my artwork layer yet. Okay, I'm going to save this as. And so we're going to put this not in the concept folder, but out here, unlimited40pocket.psd. We're saving as a Photoshop document. And then I'm going to change these color overlays to black. So I'm just going to change this one to black. I'm going to turn off my artwork. Turn off my shadow. Ooh, I see some stuff that I don't like. I just don't like that scratchy stuff, So I'm just going to erase, and I'm just going to get rid of these little things that are popping out at me. And what I could do actually is I can turn that stroke on and really see the stuff that I wanted to get rid of. Yeah, I don't want any of this. I want you to go away. So I'm just getting rid of you. I just know that's not going to trace very well. So let's just clean it up. And let's clean all this up. And I'm going to just do that and pause. So Okay, so I just cleaned up a bunch of these little tiny things around the outside. And now I'm going to turn that stroke off. And I'm going to do File, Export. Quick Export as PNG. So I'm exporting this really big. I'm just going to put this in my Downloads folder because it's not, I'm going to call it Trace. So I know that it's not real. I don't really care about it. And then I'm going to copy this layer style and paste it on this one. Turn this one off, turn this one on, and then do File, Export, and do the same thing. We're going to call this Shadow Trace. All right, and then I'm going to pull open Inkscape and do File, New. So Inkscape's completely free as well. You just get it at inkscape.org. And then I'm going to grab these two. Okay, just making sure I got these things. And I'm going to pull them in at the same time and embed them together. And they should naturally stack up. But just to be safe, I'm going to select them both. We're going to go to our Layers and Objects, Object, Layers and Object. Select both of those. Go to our Align and Distribute, which is Object, Align and Distribute. And just make them distribute to the page. I don't have Move Selection as a group. And I'm just going to distribute them to the page. They already were perfect. I didn't see any movement, so that's great. And so one of these is our shadow. And the other, oh, I turned the whole layer off. Confused myself. So there's our actual 40. So we're just going to trace that, hit apply. Let's see. We want to select this one. All right. There's our 40. So this is Trace Bitmap, Path Trace Bitmap. And then we're just going to hit apply. And then the other one, we'll delete that image. This is our shadow, so we're going to call this 40. And then we'll trace this. And we'll call this, we'll delete that. We'll call this shadow. All right. And then we want the 40 above the shadow. And then we want to set the color. We can always do this in Photoshop, but it's nice to just go ahead and set it here. So let's look at our color overlay on our gold. All right, let's revert. I'm reverting. So I get back to my, that save point that I gave myself. All right, let's copy that. And then let's go back here. And we're just going to do that color. So there's the gold. So it just goes in the first 6 slots. I'm on RGB and I'm in Fill and Stroke, which is under Object, Fill and Stroke. And now I've set that one. And then this other shadow, oh guys, I have screwed up. I have to back up. I'm going to do Control Z. Before I got off this image, I needed to do Control Shift R. And I just caught that, and I'm so glad to have done that. So that's so it's going to line back up with our Photoshop document. So I hit Control Shift R, which is under File, Document Properties, Resize to Content. I've also got my checkerboard on, so if you don't have that, just turn it on. And then I'm just going to hit Delete on this image. So now we're good. Now I can change this to shadow. I'll show you how that lines up in just a second. And I forget to do that a lot, and that's why I kind of, I'm glad I remembered. All right, and I just colored my shadow to the wrong color. So I wanted to color this one. Leaving the mistakes in, right? Because we make them. I make them all the time. And I'm going to grab this color overlay and grab that color. Control C, cancel, cancel. And I'll make that shadow the right color. Oh, and I promised that I would show you how I'm thinking about making sure there's some overlap. Because I think if we zoom in here, we might see it actually looks pretty good. Yeah. What I was thinking is that I might have to like copy the copy the gold and paste it on the brown. But I'm not going to do that. It looks like I'm okay. So I'm just going to do File, Save As. This is our first thing that's going to go in our pieces. So I'm going Home, Downloads. There's my folder. There's my pieces. And I'm going to call this 40 full SVG. And then I'm going to turn off the shadow. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the shadow. And I'm just going to call this File Save As 40 full. Yeah, this is going to be my 40, yeah, without shadow. Okay. And then I'm going to turn my shadow back on, and I'm actually going to crop it. So I've got the one that's designed to line up, but this one I'm going to crop it because we'll use it in that other document. And I'm going to call this 40 full. Boom. Replace. Awesome. Close it. Let's just close all this. I got too much stuff open. All right. And here we go. So now we're going to drop this in. So I'm just going to my folder, pieces. There's my 40 without shadow. Okay. And I'm just going to drop this on the document. And it didn't position itself properly because I didn't have the whole document in view. So I'm just going to hit Escape and try it again just to show you that if the whole document's in view, then it actually drops it just the way it's supposed to. And I'm just going to hit Enter. All right. And there's our 40 without shadow. I'm going to put that in our artwork folder. And then I'm going to delete or just hide these two. Okay. And that is what the mock-up seems to show. And based on her description, that is what needs to be done here. So, you know, please omit the writing on the front logo. It says tinting, audio, suspension, tires. Ooh, yeah, I think that's great. Let's get rid of that. So we need to work on that. And then on the front logo. And then let's see what she says. See, that looks flat, and that looks like it's got the shadow. And it shows the shadow is black, but I don't think that's good for a black shirt. Okay, so let's finish this pocket logo. So now, since we took off that shadow, which is going to be good, it's going to be a simpler thing to understand on the smaller design. This is now not as even as it is on this side. So what we're going to do is just barely move it. I'm just going to kind of even it out. I'm just moving it over to the right to make that look, you know, better. All right. And that doesn't seem to be affected any other parts. So we're just going to take this. We're going to start cleaning this up. First thing we're going to do is take this. We're separating off this area right here. So this is supposed to go. But I think before we do that, let's grab our gold layer. So I'm just selecting the gold. And let's cut this off. All right. And then let's paste it, Control-Shift-V. And we have to make sure, well, one thing we could have done, let's Control-Z that, Control-Z. Let's just rasterize this layer style. And I'm going to go ahead and do that to this one too. So now we know that stays pure gold. And that stays pure black. And then we don't even need to cut it off. We can just select it like this and hold Shift and scoot it up. And I just wanted to leave that other layer there for a second so we could kind of position this the same way as the original. And then we're going to take this black layer. Oh, no, I don't want to do that, guys. There's gold there too. All right, fine. Let's get rid of the gold first. Control-D. This is why Control-Z is your best friend. So we're just going to take this, we're going to hit delete, and then we're going to Control-D, and we're going to select this part, and we're going to grab our move tool and just scoot that up. And just use that to kind of lay us out where we go. I'm going to center on that E. Okay, and then we'll grab our black, Control-D, and we're going to leave that bar, just making decisions as we go. And then I'm going to take this, I'm actually going to take this gold Weatherford, Texas, and I am going to cut it off. And Control-Shift-V. And I'm just going to make sure that it's centered. I'm going to take my whole artwork folder. I've got my move tool. I'm going to align it to the canvas. I'm doing the whole folder at once. And gosh, I might even move these guys in there just to be really safe. All right. And then I'm just going to center the whole thing. So now the whole thing is centered. Okay. And then these elements that need to be centered, I'm going to center. So this one, let's center that. Let's see if it moves. Watch the Weatherford, Texas. It was not centered. Okay. And so now let's go on with this gold. You know, we obviously aren't going to center this part. But it's making me nervous that even this arch might not be centered. I get scared of those things. Those are the things that keep me up at night. I'm just going to take this and cut this off the gold. All right. And we're going to center that guy. Not bad. All right. And then let's grab the black. So I'm just making my selection. And I can go into this gold. I don't have to worry about that. Yep, I can go into that gold too, can't I? And I'm just going to cut this off the black and paste it. This is why you also can't have any stray pixels anywhere, because it'll mess up your centering. Okay, Unlimited is perfectly centered. So it doesn't look centered, though, with this stuff up above. So I think what we need to do, I'm going to grab an ellipse. I'm going to come outside of my artwork folder, Control-Shift-N, just to make a new layer, and drag it above my artwork folder so I have a starting point. So let's make an ellipse. So I'm going to come up here. So here's the top of the circle. And I'm just going to come over, and here's the side of the circle. And I'm just going to hold Shift and drag it. Well, at least it's a pretty close to a circle, so that's nice. And I'm just going to position it right there. All right. And then we'll just, it's got a stroke on it that's set to 5 pixels. That's just what it was set to on my computer. So I'll make it a little bigger so we can see it better. Okay, and let's center that. All right, so yeah, this top thing is off. And we've got some options. We could drag this circle back. This is going to be the easiest thing to do. Let's drag this back. I'm positioning it so that it's, you know, with the other elements. I mean, it's even, excuse me, it's now even or fairly even with this outer circle, okay? And then I'm going to take all these pieces at the bottom. So let's turn off our gold. That's just that part at the top. I'm going to drag this up. It's not in anything's way. I'm going to turn this off. All right, that's our unlimited. I'm going to turn that off. So that's that black bar. So we do need to cut that off. Let's grab that black bar. And we're going to grab that off our black layer. Paste it. We'll call this black bar. And then this is our black. That's our other black. Let's just turn it off. Yeah, that's the stuff that's going to stay still up at the top. And then, what's this? Weatherford. And then what's this? Concepts. Okay. And let's just take all of this and group it. Control G. And we'll call this bottom. And we'll turn that off and we'll see what we got. Awesome. So now we can take bottom, select it, and select our ellipse and grab our center, grab our move tool and align to, I want to align to selection, but that's not good. I just want to lock that to that. I think if this is a bigger object and it encompasses the other pieces, let's do this. I'm trying to zoom out and it's not letting me. Click, Control minus. What is your problem? Is it because I have this ellipse selected? Control minus. I'm having trouble zooming in and out, guys. I'm not sure what's happening. I must be in some kind of mode. Hang on. Well, I couldn't figure out what it was, so I just saved and then closed Photoshop. So I'm trying to zoom out. All right, let's grab this ellipse. Control T. I'm going to make it really big so that it encompasses everything. And I mean, the movement's just going to be tiny even if this works. We'll open up our artwork. We'll just select our bottom. We'll select our ellipse. And then we're going to do align to selection and center. And we know, by the way that rocked, that actually moved it to where it's supposed to go. Okay, we're going to turn our gold back on. We got our black on. We don't need our ellipse anymore. We're going to hit delete. And just to make sure everything stays centered from now on, I'm going to do image trim, transparent pixels. And then I'm going to do image canvas size and give it all the space back. So I'm just going to give it like, 1,000 extra pixels I have relative to current dimension on. So that should encompass everything that we've had ever on the stage. And I'll find that out by turning this on. Yep. See, this is still back here untouched, and it's locked, and it's been safe this whole time. I'm actually going to go ahead and convert this to a smart object. We'll turn it on, convert it to a smart object, and then turn it off. No reason not to keep our mask. I think things have moved. We'll go ahead and delete it. We'll leave this color fill here so you can preview things against different colors. And we'll take our final steps here. So our black is actually going to be white. So we're just going to do blending options on that. Color overlay, white. And in our bottom, we have got our unlimited and our black bar. So we'll just copy that layer style and we'll paste those back, paste layer style. And then we shall take a peek at it. All right, there's our final logo. So that's our finished Pocket logo. Let's look at how to save it. I'm gonna save the PSD, and then we're gonna do image trim with our black off, and then we're gonna do image size, and resample is off. I'm gonna set this to 300. Probably should have done that before I saved the PSD. Actually, let's back up. Control Z. We'll leave this on. Image size, resamples off. Set it to 300 pixels. Okay. File save. So now our PSD is like right and ready. And now we're going to do image trim. It's nice to leave a little space around to work with things for things like centering. Okay, so I know this is just a pocket. I'm just acknowledging to the world that I know it's a pocket. I think she has told us what size. Usually I would save this at 15 inches just because that's what I do. But in this case, pocket logo 4 inches, so that's the width. All right, so we're going to go ahead and make it exactly the size she wants it. So we're going to do 4 inches. We're going to turn on resample. We want to set this to 300. We're going to put a 4 here, just kind of fighting it back and forth there. Hit OK. All right, and now we are just going to merge visible. So we're merging the visible. We aren't going to flatten the image. We're merging what's visible. And then we're going to do layer, mask from transparency. Alt-click that layer. Image adjustments threshold. That is eliminating every little semi-transparent pixel on this whole document. I'm going to also, I think, paint out a couple of little flecks that I see here. So I'm just going to grab my brush tool, make sure I'm on pure black. So make sure I'm pure black. And I'm just going to nail these little, like, things that are bothering me. So like that little guy right there. Shrink that thing. Hit that. And I just feel like those little parts aren't going to print properly. They're just too small. Might just look like a mistake. Okay, perfect. And now I'm going to export it. File, export, quick export as PNG. So you put this right in the folder. There we are. And we're going to put this Unlimited 40 Pocket. It's 1200 pixels. RTP. And I'm going to put my name. Boom. So guys, if you're watching this, that's a start to finish It's ready to go. I'm going to send that back to Meredith with the Google Drive link. No need to watch anymore unless you want to see how to deal with more artwork, because I am just going to drone on, and this next part is going to take hours. I probably won't. It'll take me hours maybe, but I'll pause and stop some for you guys. But it's on to the back logo. So if you'd like to keep watching, please do. I mean, there's going to be lots to learn from this next part too. All right, so we're going to start the same way we did. We're just going to go ahead and select an image. Here's the back. Open it up. Yep, 6,000. That's going to work for us. I'm going to switch so I have white as my background. So white is my background layer. And I'm going to grab my crop tool and just give myself some more room up here at the top. So with that white selected as the background, it's going to expand in that way. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and convert this to a smart object. And this is going to take a lot more time. So just lock in. And we got to come up with a strategy. And I want to talk about how to define a strategy for something like this. So, you've got like this nice white stroke here around this truck. But then you've also got a white stroke here in this, around this spark plug. I guess that's what that is. And you've got a white stroke here. And these strokes are not all the same. And you're going to have a really clean cut around these images, around these parts. We've got a stroke here. And we actually need to put the stroke so that you can see that well, no, we're going to change that to white. But they want it chopped out. So if we're changing that text to white, that'll be interesting. I'm seeing all these shadows, and that's just, stuff that's kind of coming up in my brain here. So I need to, I'm seeing, mess in these spokes back there. I'm not sure why we've got that gold stuff in that rim right there. I think that's supposed to be black, and that's not supposed to exist. AI has ushered in this new era of just amazingness for so many of us, and but it's real hard to see little mistakes and problems like those. So I will say that we do have clean artwork here that we can work with, and we could make this happen without taking the next step that I'm going to take. But I'm going to take the next steps and try to revisualize these with all of the parts visible, all these layered parts. We'll just see if we can accomplish that with ChatGPT. Okay, I'm going to do a new layer. I'm going to work on the spark plug first. And I'm going to grab my brush tool. So this is going to be my mask. And I'm just going to start masking off. Oops, wrong color. Let's switch colors here. Hold Alt and just click that background. So I just don't want this to be confusing. Oh, got into it a little bit. So Control Z and missed a little black splotch there. Alright, I don't want any of this to confuse the AI. And this may not work. I mean, every time you're doing something with AI, you're just kind of at its mercy. And I'm going to remove this part because it looks pretty easy to do. So I'm not just doing things that are easy, but I'm thinking about speed and efficiency, I don't want this to take the rest of the day. So I'm just going to paint out the rest of this and paint out this part. So what I'm doing is I'm painting around elements tight, and then getting a bigger brush when I can go bigger to zoom in, to zoom out essentially, and just be able to work faster and get rid of more at once. Okay, and like down here, I've just selected this whole bottom part, and I'm just going to paint that out. So what I'm doing is I'm making this a simpler image for the AI to understand. and I just want to show it exactly what I'm looking for when I make the other, when I go to the next step. And there's other parts that we can like fix up now. So like this along here, we're going to need an edge here, and so I'm just going to draw that in. So I'm just going to come real small with my brush tool. And I always get nervous when I like show people that I'm actually painting because I'm kind of sloppy. I'm just not that great at it. And so I've got my smoothing on, and I'm just going to try to paint this edge in. Oh, that's way too big. See, that's the embarrassing part. All right, so I'm just going to click there. Whoops, I'm going to click inside this end and then just grab it here. Yeah, way too big. I'm leaving this in the tutorial because, like, my goodness, I want you all to see that I struggle. What I'd like to be able to do is just draw a curve there and have it smooth, but I'm just not that good. So I'm just going to grab here and click here. Way too big still. So I'm backing up. I'm going really small now. And I'm just going to go like here. And then like here. And then I can actually smooth that out if I want to. So I can just draw along that. Oh my God, that looks terrible. So embarrassed right now, but yeah, just awful. Yeah, I'm trying a little better. I'm holding my breath. That makes me do a better job. We'll just kind of smooth this out. Awful. I should have just used the pen tool. What's happening is I think that my mouth settings are not being respected right now. And that happens to me from time to time. And let's just go along here. We'll just fill all that in and clean this up. So, y'all are going to be able to see that this is messy when we zoom out, but the customer's not going to see it. It's going to be, we're zoomed way in. And all I'm doing is I'm trying to isolate this so that you can actually make a selection. And we can even come back and clean this up more. So we can switch back to our brush tool, select it. I'm going to go bigger with it. And we can just kind of round this stuff off and make that look a little more natural. Oh my gosh. Push and pull. Nope. Give me the black. All right. It's not the greatest job in the world. If I want to clean this up, I can do this. And I can do this. Yep. And I can go here. And then I can change that to have no fill, have a stroke, give it 5 pixels, and then I've got a better line. All right? You're never going to see that. Okay, and so I'm just wanting the AI to actually get something that's good. In this truck, I could isolate a lot more. So I said I was focused on the spark plug. So I'm going to do that. All right, let's take this whole thing. And then I'm just going to duplicate those layers. And then I'm going to merge them down. And I'm going to grab this whole piece, including the spark plug. All right, let me get set up for this. Okay, and I'm struggling because it won't paste into ChatGPT. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this. So this is unlimited 40 back. We're going to put that out here, not in the concept directory. And so I've saved it, and now I'm going to do image size, and I'm going to make this a lot smaller. So we're going to go 15 inches. Actually, let's do image size, and let's make this 300 pixels with resample off. Okay, and I'm saving it again, and then I'm going to do image size, and we'll make this 5 inches. We'll go 10 inches. We'll turn resample on. Okay, and I'm just doing this so that I can select this whole piece. And that's why I merged that down into a layer, so I could select it and have it, because I want to give the AI like an idea of like the entire thing we're doing. Control C. Let's see if it'll paste now. Yes, it was just too big. It was too much coming from the clipboard. Okay, and then I'm going to grab this part right here. And Control C. And then I'm going to write it a prompt. And so, how am I going to write this prompt? I'm going to describe what I'm trying to accomplish. Like I'm trying to separate this spark plug so that I have it as a layer. And I gave it the full picture, and then I'm giving it just like the part that I want it to do. So let me write. All right, and we can read this. I explained that we're recreating a larger artwork. I explained what the first image was, and then I explained the second image. Told it it's isolating the plug. You can pause the video and you can read this, because this is, I think, a great prompt for exactly what we're trying to do. We're going to choose create image and then let it go. And we never know what we're going to get, but we hope that we've told it what we want, and we hope that we're amazed. Yeah, she's considering recreating the UC logo, and I actually thought I should let it know that that's important, and hopefully it does. And then I'll take a second and say I'm using ChatGPT Pro, which I think is $20 a month. I'm actually paying $100 because I use it so much. I'm using it for our customers' artwork, but $20 a month this was like the one thing that I would pay for if you're not going to pay for anything else, is to get access to this model. I believe ChatGPT has the very best image model on the planet. And so there's our preview. I'm going to save that. So see me just snagging it as it came past, because sometimes when it finalizes, it actually doesn't do a good job. I'm not even sure if that's what the bottom of a spark plug looks like, but it's fine with me, and it looks like it's going to do what we need. Okay, so let's grab that thing. Let's save it. I mean, you could paint on this and make it even better than what it is, but there's no reason to kill yourself. So let's grab this. I'm going to open it. We're going to take it out to 5x. Actually, that's a little extreme. Let's go 4x. It's just an element after all, and it's going to be small. But we want it to be big so that we know how to cut it off. All right? And then I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to rename it. I'm going to call it UC Spark Plug. I'm going to cut it from there, put it in my folder, put it in my pieces, and paste it. And I just noticed that I had let a little mess. I saved in this directory. I don't need that. So now I'm going to grab that, and we're going to go back to Photoshop, and we're going to drag it in. So let's just drag it in and drop it. And I'm just going to hit enter to confirm. And I'm going to lower its opacity so that I can see through it. Control T, scale it down. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of chat sometimes. Just so proud of it. I think it's done a great job. We've done a great job. We've made a good team here. I'll grab my move tool, scoot it in. I'm using my arrow keys to make fine adjustments, and I'm just going to try to make it lay right over. It looks like it's literally nailed it. All right. May have praised it too soon. Let's see. All right. Yeah. No, I mean, it's pretty much nailed it. If we wanted to change it slightly, we could hold shift and squish it up a little bit. We're just kind of finding the happy median where it's close to the original, but it's not, it's never going to be perfect. I mean, that's the challenge of using AI. But let's turn off this. Let's take this up to 100%. Yeah, I mean, if anything, the second one, the new render, the gold is prettier. It's brighter. I'm real happy with it. So, all right. Now we've got that set in place. Let's double click this layer. We're going to go in and we're going to remove the white background. So we're going to unlock it. Unlock the background. We're going to use our magic wand. We're still at that 80 tolerance. We're going to nail these parts. So I'm holding shift and clicking inside of each one of those. And we got little bitty ones to watch out for. And there's some on this side as well. So we'll get that little guy. We'll get that little guy. But we're not just getting rid of all the white. That's part of a shine. Okay. And then we're just going to do delete. And then I'm going to give it a stroke all the way around. I'm going to do blending options, stroke, inside, black. And we really won't see that. I'm just going to show you all why I did that. And it doesn't always pertain. But this time, if we turn that off, see how we got that little edge? That's how we're dealing with the edge. That's how we're dealing with the edge on this. See, we got that little fake edge. You turn that effect on, it's gone. And it's just going to be really crisp. Okay? And then I'm just going to rasterize that layer style. I'm going to delete this layer. I'm going to do image trim, transparent pixels, Control S, and go back here. And it moved it because I trimmed it, I guess. So I'm just going to scoot it back in place, line it back up. It's a smart object, so you can scale it up without fear. Yep. I mean, split the difference. It's close enough. I actually don't like that last little twist I made. So I'm just going to try to undo that. Line it up with these main parts that we could see before, because those are the most important. And I'm stretching it slightly. All right. Okay. So there's our spark plug. And now we need our truck. Okay, so I'm going to start a new chat window. So I'm coming over here. I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to copy this message. I'm going to do new chat. I'm going to paste this message. And then I'm going to copy this image. And I'm going to paste it so it follows exactly the format that I gave it before. And then I'm going to come here. Oh, I drug it over here. And I'm going to turn off that spark plug. And I'm going to grab this layer. This is my layer that's got all of it merged. And I'm just going to grab my marquee tool. And I'm going to start right underneath the truck. And I'm giving it a little bit of space around. Okay. I'm going to select that truck. I'm going to get that shadow too. I just don't want it to have any guesswork. I don't really want the shadow necessarily, but I want to give it the whole truck. All right, and then I'm going to paste that. All right, the second image is when you're isolating the truck. I'm going to say white truck. Isolate the truck on white. And ensure that all parts of it that touch the white background are black. Follow the exact angle and position of the truck in the sector. Improve and enhance the fine details. Imagine the parts of the truck that are behind the text. Produce a print-ready, production-quality rendering of the isolated truck against a white background. Reproduce all text and logos that are on the truck. Vector illustration of the truck. That my client owns. I'm nervous because I'm giving it such a long prompt now. Yeah. So we own the rights. I just don't want it to get worried about copyright. And then we're going to do create image. And we're going to let it go. And we're going to pray. Because this is a really complex image. I hope it can do it. Yeah, she just said I need to generate an isolated truck from images. I'll focus on isolating the truck, keeping the edges sharp with black outlines. This involves reproducing the text and logos, but just on the truck, guys. So I hope that she understands that we don't want the black text, the unlimited. And I think she nailed it again. I was really nervous about that GMC logo. I just was thinking that was not going to work. And I'm not sure how well she's done on this part back here, but I mean, little tiny details like this are not going to be seen on our shirt design. So we don't have to worry about that. All right, so now it's downloaded it. Let's upscale it. Boom. And yeah, 4X is going to be good. It's 5,700 pixels, so it's bigger than we're even going to need for the entire image at 4,500 pixels. I'm not. That's my standard 15 inch. I forget what Meredith told us to make it. All right, we can go look that up though, can't we? So now we're going to just do some housekeeping. We're going to rename this UC Truck. I'm going to delete some of these other things that I know I don't need anymore. Keep my stuff clean. We'll put this in here. We'll go in there. We'll put it in pieces. And then we're going to drag it back into our project. So I'm just taking the folder, and just dragging that on. And by doing that, it actually makes it a smart object. And then I just hit enter to confirm. Okay, so this and this are going in our artwork folder. So that's artwork. And this, we got to knock the background off. So let's just double click it. And we've got a really good black outline around everything. Fantastic. We'll leave some of that in there. Let's ditch this. Yeah, there's some inconsistencies in the way that it's drawn some of these parts. It's gotten confused about some of this stuff. But I mean, it's AI and it's doing a great job. I'm glad that it got those gold little lugs all the way around the wheel. I'm proud of it. I'm not mad at it. And we'll just make some decisions about what shines and what's not. And kind of grab some of these parts to delete and leave some of the white. And then we're going to go over here. Same dealio. We're leaving the parts we think might be shines. Don't really know. Okay, and this time I'm going to do a different technique. I'm going to do select, modify, expand, and just go in 1 pixel, and that's how I'm going to try to get rid of my edge. And I'm just going to hit delete. And then I'm going to look at it with a black layer. I don't see any fake edges. I'll delete that. I'm going to trim it. Trim. And then I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to come here and I'm actually going to right click. This is my Pocket logo. I don't want to save my Pocket logo because I'm done with it. And I'm just going to right click here and hit close others. And now we'll take our truck. Oh, it didn't put the shadow. Thank you, chat. It made it easy for me. I appreciate it. Okay. Well, let's line this puppy up. It's done a really good job. So I'm just kind of responsible for the scale overall. Well, I'm responsible for everything. I'm responsible for the final placement. I'm going to try to line up with this back wheel. And then it is distorted a little bit. Let's just lower the opacity so we can see through it some. I mean, it just does this, right? It just changes the dimensions a little bit. And I think that's pretty close. Yeah. Pretty darn close. Alright, so we'll just go ahead and just call that it. Alright, so now I got so much stuff going on down here. I'm going to group this and call it junk. We'll turn that off. We'll turn on our artwork layer. So we know our spark plug goes behind our truck. So we'll just drag the truck up. And we're getting there. Yep. And then we'll turn our junk on. Yeah, we're getting there. Now this wheel, I'm going to deal with these problems that I see here. Let's come in here and we'll select that and we'll select that. And I'm just going to shift select up here. And then we're just going to paint this white. This is the comedy part. Alright, so we're just not sure where that gold is coming from. And we don't like it. So we'll just get rid of that. This part, I really feel like that's supposed to continue there. And I really want this to be black. So we're just going to make that black. Yep, that looks better. And then we could decide to like take the shadow out for ourselves, but we'll ask, yeah. I was about to say we'll ask chat to do that, and then I just was like, let's just take it out. It's going to be easier than typing at this point. So all I'm doing is just drawing around the shadow, and then I'm just going to control click it, and I'm just going to dump white on a new layer. Boop. Comedy part. Alright, control D, let's turn that shape off. Yep, I'm happy with that. Control E, merge that down. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get my prompt ready. I'm just going to pause the recording because you all know what I'm going to do. Awesome. You know, I'm going to just rant just for a second about these fools that think that, you know, AI is destroying our environment. Hopefully I'm far enough into this tutorial that they've left and they won't, like, you know, come kill me. But, you know, AI does not use water. Like, that is such nonsense. These people are just ticked off because it's making our lives easier. And they feel like, I guess they're not going to make as much money or whatever. Okay, and it made the wheel slightly rounder, which I really appreciate. And it's also fixed this little mistake right here, this little mistake right here. It kept that one. Look at what it's done. Look at how it's made these lugs, or these nut, whatever these things are. They're not lugs, they're bolts or something. Look at how it's made them more consistent. It's done a better job on the K logo. I think it's just really nailed it. All right. Enough about that. Enough of my love of AI. I'm so proud of it. Okay, so now we've got our artwork getting nice and isolated. And we're going to move on and do some of the other elements. So I've just turned off my artwork and turned on my junk, and I'm going to turn my mask back off. And I'm going to turn this shape layer off because I'm done with this one, so I can actually delete that. I'm going to turn off that. And we need to get some of these other elements coming in. So we've got that unlimited concepts and the tinting. And we'd be better off trying to bring those in from our other documents. I'm going to open that pocket back up. And I'm going to grab the unlimited from here. So let's just duplicate this layer. Oh, I've got multiple things selected there. Let's duplicate Weatherford. Yeah, we'll just grab this whole bottom. Let's just duplicate that whole group over on our back. So here's our bottom. We'll bring that up into our artwork, collapse it, bring our spark plug up, and here's our bottom. I don't know why I don't see it. Oh, it's way over here. All right. Oh, and artwork's turned off. So we're just gonna kind of get it about right. Well, we can't see it. And then hit enter, turn it on. I'll turn off this truck and this wheel. And then we'll bring this down, line it up. All right, and I'm just reusing these elements, not to save time so much, but to maintain consistency. So I'm just going to get these lined up and in position, and you can imagine what I'm going to do there. So I've grouped the truck and the wheel and the plug, and I'm going to center it. And I'm not happy with how that went. Not sure what's wrong. Let's turn off this bottom and let's turn off this junk. So something happened to my spark plug and it moved like dramatically. So I need to figure out what I did wrong. Oh, I know what I did. I brought it in and I put it in that wrong layer. So I just got to back up a bit. So bringing these other layers in, we know we already have our gold color established. We've got a lot of things that are established. And the first thing that I can see is that, this bottom layer is, it's the unlimited is so much bigger and taller than it was on the pocket. And so I don't know which is which, but I do know that I need to stay consistent. And so I need some more room here. I'm not going to squish. I think this is the company's actual logo. And I'm definitely not going to squish that logo. I'm just not doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do image canvas size. I'm just staying consistent with what I have, right? So I'm going to add height here. And I just noticed something. Earlier, I resized without having these pieces. I got my image sizes wrong. And since these are not smart objects, I've actually got a problem. So I'm gonna get rid of, all these are smart. But this bottom that I've just brought in, I've just introduced a problem, okay? And I'll show you what I mean. So this image I shrunk it down when I exported it earlier when we were struggling. And so I need to actually come back out with it and I'm going to come back out to 20 inches. But if I do that and I don't fix those bottom elements, these smart objects are fine, right? But these bottom elements are not, because they are not, well, anyway, they're not smart objects, right? So I'm just going to delete this layer, or I maybe leave it selected, and we'll go back to this pockets, and I'll duplicate this group again on the back. So that was about to be a big mistake, actually. And then I'll delete this one. And now this bottom is good. Yeah, and that's actually coming in at like a better size. All right, I'll turn off this black here. And I'm going to center it to the document. Hold on. Yep, it's centered. And then, I'm just going to drag it up. I'm holding shift when I move things around, and then I'm dragging it back down. And I'm just going to move this down here. Oh no, there's overlap. That's right, Mike. So like right here, let's just kind of mimic the positioning. I'm going to do image canvas size, and I'm going to give myself an extra 1,000 pixels. I'm going to anchor at the top and give myself 1,000 extra pixels on the bottom so that I got room. And then just so that there's no confusion, or I'm going to put a solid white back here and drag it up here. All right. I don't want that in my junk, actually. I'll take it out of my junk, but I'm going to put it below the junk so it's not distracting. I'll drag the junk above it. All right, so there's my bottom. Everything's in bottom now. I'm struggling here, guys. I want all of this out. That's always a problem for me. Hang on. Let's drag it up here. We'll put it... Nope, that put it in the wrong folder. Come on, Mike. Let's grab these two. I should probably cut this part. You're just seeing me struggle. And then here's the bottom. Bottom's going to be in artwork. Junk and color fill should not be in artwork. Bottom's going in artwork. Junk and color fill are going outside of artwork. So I'm going to pull artwork up above it. Yes. All right. Now I've got my stack correct. And I'm just going to turn off my junk. Okay, I'm going to turn it back on, and then I'm going to use this disposition, this whole bottom. I'm shrink it down so that it fills the space that it was in before, roughly. And then scoot it up so that it's about lined up with the amount of overlap it was over the truck before. And then there's that concept and that Weatherford. So let's just, we're just going to give ourselves more room here. So we'll take our, yeah, let's turn off bottom. Yeah, we'll take our black bar and we'll move it down. We'll turn the overlay on. All right. So that's supposed to go right underneath concepts. And then our Weatherford comes down. Okay. And then we need room for that tinting, audio, suspension, and tire. So let's grab that. Okay, and I just realized that this has been a smart object the whole time, you know? And that's great, because this has still got all the full stuff going on. So we're just going to grab this. I'm going to grab the magic wand. I'm just trying to get this text here. And so I just selected everything with contiguous on, off. And then I'm deselecting, and I'm deselecting with Alt. So I'm just getting that black. Control C. I'm going to put it in bottom. So I'm going to put it right here above the Weatherford paste. And we're going to call that tinting. And we're going to give it a color overlay of black. Okay. And then Weatherford, we're going to put Concepts above Weatherford. Put it right underneath this Unlimited. And then we're going to grab the circles. So let me get those done. And I'm going to take that tinting line with those circles, which I put the gold color on them. I'm going to call the whole thing tinting. Okay, now let's just make it look nice. So there's the black bar. There's our word concepts. So we got our Weatherford and our tinting that we want to move down. Yeah, 95 pixels. Let's run with it. Let's look at this concepts. And I'm going to grab everything under it. And let's just make sure it's at that 95. So we're doing this 95 pixel thing. And then Weatherford, let's make it do the 95. Well, let's see. Yep. We'll stick with that spacing. Okay. So we've just done our prompt magic, and you can stop and look at that if you'd like. And she says making sure the sign logo is reproduced since it's user approved. I literally needed to tell her to make sure that she could reproduce the logo. She probably would have done it anyway, but it's always a concern with copyright. And this time, chat's let me down a little bit in that it's actually not reproduced the building faithfully. It's done a good job on the logo. It's done a good job on the elements that I was worried about. But I'm just going to pop this up and I'm going to split the difference. I want that gold streak in there. I want some of this over here. So I'm just kind of going with it. Because what else can you do? You're dealing with AI. So we'll just go with it right there. Okay? And then I'm going to take that opacity up. And that's certainly working for us. It looks nice. I think it's done a great job. I'm just kind of, not super happy with how it's done it. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, that's good. Everything's fine. All right, so let's take that and we'll turn off our junk. We'll see what we got. So this is our recreation. And why did we need to do all this? So we literally did all of this so that we could stroke out the truck. I mean, that is the main thing. Stroke out the truck, stroke out the these different elements, these things that are supposed to be cut off by these different parts. So now I'm going to work on masking and stroking. So we're going to take this this part that of the building that we're not seeing. So I'm just going to grab all of this. So I'm just kind of following along inside these layers. Okay, and select all that. And then on the building itself, I'm going to do layer, mask, hide selection. And see, so that popped it out of the wheel. And then I'm going to take my truck. I'm going to turn off this. Actually, I'll make the background black. And I'm going to take the truck. And give it that stroke. So we're going to do blending options, stroke, outside, white. Yeah, that looks great. And then I'm also going to do that same style and give it to the spark plug. And then I guess I'm going to do the same style and give it to that wheel. And so that's giving all that a pop. And we need to decide if we want that to actually, yeah, I think we do. We actually do want that to stay. That is what we're doing here. I'm thinking out loud. We could just make that stroke only affect the outside of it, which I think I really like that. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to take this whole truck wheel plug and I'm going to duplicate it. This is the hard part. Lots of planning and thought processes here. And I'm going to take this one and I'm going to turn off those effects. Okay, so this is the one below. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm actually just going to merge that group. And I'm going to, remove parts of it. So I don't want this stroke here. See, I don't want this stroke here. I shouldn't have merged the whole group. Yeah, here's my copy. I'm going to rasterize this layer style on this wheel. And then I'm going to grab this inside part and delete it. And then I'm going to rasterize it on the truck. And I'm going to grab this part and delete it. I'm not sure what that is right there, so I'm just deleting it. Oh yeah, okay, that's a problem. Wait a second, I screwed up. Rasterize layer style. Boom. Delete. What's that? Nothing. Inside this wheel. I don't want to stroke that out. I don't want to stroke this out. Okay. The spark plug, I think, is good. I don't think it needs that same treatment. I mean, you could worry about it here. Let's see. You could grab these. Yep, I think we like that. Spark plug almost doesn't need, no, I mean, if it's going to have that outer stroke, I mean, we need the stroke there. Yeah, I mean, this is hard stuff, but, this is what we're going to do. And then around the unlimited, which is arguably the most important thing. All right, so this is our, I'm going to call this stroke. It's truck, wheel, plug, stroke. And then look at our bottom here. So let's turn our color overlay on. And then we want that cut out. So we're going to select that layer. And then we're going to do select, modify, expand. And we're going to go pretty big. We're going to go like 100. That's too much. Select, modify, expand. Let's go 60. Because, remember in the original that was kind of cut out. All right. And then I'm going to convert this to a smart object. And I'm going to convert this to a smart object. And then I'm going to do layer, mask, hide selection. And I'm going to do layer, mask. Oops, why is that not working? Oh, select, reselect. Layer, mask, hide selection. So now it's chopped off. Okay, that's working for me. All right, And then let's go down here and let's get our black bar. We know we've got that to deal with. Let's turn our color overlay on our bar. Here's our concepts. And our tinting. We'll just do blending options on this whole group. Or no, that's got those gold circles in it. Just do our color overlay on our tinting to be white. Yeah, that's coming together. This is looking good. And let's turn this off so you can see what's going to print. We are getting there, guys. So just looking back at our mock-up, I don't see those outer strokes, but I think that they are good. I think that is a decision that I'm going to make to leave them. I mean, it's got shadows and stuff. This is AI. You know, this is AI. You never want to put black against black. Not that dark of a black. So now let's go get our shape of Texas. Saving that gold finish for the end, because that's going to be the coolest thing. That's why you have to watch till the end. And we're going to grab this. And I'm just going to Alt select this part right here. And then I'm going to Alt select this. Whoop, got into my shape of Texas. And then, okay, we're just fighting off this this extra selection that we don't want. So we'll just continue that down. And we will select all this. And then we're going to go all the way up here. I'm holding Alt. And now I'm going to ignore that little part right there. I don't know why it didn't continue the shape there. I'm with it though. All right, and then we'll just grab this layer here, Control C. And then we're going to come back up here to our artwork. And this is going behind everything. So I'm just going to Control Shift V there. And then we'll do blending options. We know we want a color overlay. We want whites. Turn our artwork on so we can see it. And then we're going to pull this building up in front of it. And we're going to take a look at what we've got. We'll turn our junk off. Yeah, I'm happy with the way that Texas shape is coming down. Everything seems fine with that. And we're almost there. So we're going to turn this junk back on. We are going to grab very aggressively this years is bothering me. Let's go ahead and deal with this. So let's grab all of this. Okay. And I'll Control C that off of this background layer. So this is Texas. And then we'll do Control Shift V. And I'm just going to call it years. So, you know, we've got a really complex document now. We don't want to get lost. And I'm going to grab this side of this. Control C, Control Shift V. And I'm going to do Edit, Transform, and Flip it. And then I'm just going to drag it over and hope that it lines up nice and pretty. Good enough. All right, and then we'll merge that down. So I'll put this years above it and merge it down so I don't lose my name. And then we're just going to do blending options, color overlay, and we're going to do white. That's what we want. And then here, let's grab this. So I'm going to kind of aggressively go on this. I'm going to actually turn my tolerance up 100. And we can recreate these, but there's a lot of different colors here. And so I'm just going to shift select it over and over again to just try to make sure I'm actually getting just the I'm getting the whole shape. And then we'll do Control C. And we'll put that right under our years. And we're just going to say of. And then we're going to grab our true yellow. So we got that right here. We're going to do blending options, color overlay, and we'll hit this yellow right here, or this gold, sorry, call it yellow, so that it's matching, okay? And then we're going to start grabbing this stuff. This is going to be tough, or maybe not. It's actually being pretty, so far so good. A little messy right there. And I mean, you know, we could, you know, we really could just decide to select, make these shape layers. I think that it's going to be okay because it's such a background element. I don't think anybody's going to be distracted by the fact that these aren't perfect. So we're just shift clicking in all the different parts of the color. And we're making sure we get everything. We'll make all this one layer. See that? That's why you have to really get aggressive with your selection here. Okay. So we got all that. Control C. Oops. Select the layer you're copying from, Mike. Control C. And we'll put this behind everything. Control Shift V. This is going to be gold elements. And we'll just copy this layer style and we'll paste it here. And we'll move Texas up above it. All right, and I think all that's left is the 40. So we're going to go ahead and open, I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to open recent, and we'll grab that pocket. Actually, we don't even need that. We can just drag in our element. And I have been thinking about this whole time. I've been thinking about our full SVG here. And I do think I want to lower the brightness of that shadow layer. So I want it to be closer to black. I know I don't want it to be black. So let's just switch to hue, saturation, and value, and let's just take the value down even more. I'm going pretty extreme here. I know I'm like, don't make it black, and then I'm kind of making it black. But at least it's going to have a color. Black against black looks terrible. Oh, and I just thought of something. How are we doing our gold? Here we go. Let's do the gold. This is the fun part. This is what you've been waiting for, is that brushed gold effect. How are we going to do that? And we're going to use ChatGPT, or at least we're going to try. Hang on. And I am going to grab this right here. So this is the layer we're copying from. And I'm just going to select this. And we're going to go to chat. And we're going to write a prompt. And there's my prompt. Let's see what she does. Awesome. There's our brushed gold. Let's bring that in. Let's upscale it. We don't need that much, but let's go 43, 44. All right. Let's make sure upscale hasn't destroyed our texture too. No, it's fine. Okay. And then we just don't want it to look pixelated. And then we'll just rename this UC brushed gold. And we'll put it in our pieces. And I'm just thinking my way through here. how I want to handle this. I think I want to handle it right in the in Inkscape. No, I really don't. I mean, just when I got here, I started worrying about it. I don't. Okay. So I am going to turn this off, and I'm going to save this as 40 shadow. And then I'm going to turn this off and turn this on and save this as just 40. All right. Then I'm going to go into Photoshop and I'm going to zoom out. I don't know, let's zoom out. And I'm going to take both of those two that I just created there. So they're in here, they're in our pieces, right? Yep, there's those two. And I'm going to drag them on together, praying that they line up. And they did, okay? And then I'm going to group them, and I'm going to call it brushed gold 40. All right, and then inside that layer, well, first let's just position them. So I'm always going to move them from now on with the, I'm going to position the entire group rather than individually. And let's see if we can get these to line up. You know, this is a different render. These are going to be high up here on the food chain. Actually, it's going to be the highest thing on the food chain. Let's just put it all the way up here at the top. And, you know, we'll kind of match that up and then pull it down. And then we're looking at how things lay with the breaks in the gold. Okay, we're going to let that be. We're going to turn off our junk. Yeah, I think everything's fine. It's into Texas a little bit, which I don't think is going to be a problem because we're probably going to stroke this out all the way. All right, so let's just let that be. We're going to grab that 40, and then we're going to pull that brush gold layer and drop it right over top of it. And it needs to be a lot smaller. And I'm just looking at where that shine's going to lay out. Okay, and then we're going to create clipping mask. Ooh, that's pretty. Let's pop it. And it can be smaller here. We'll get more detail. Boom. Okay. And then there's that years of service. And I'm just kind of struggling. I think we just want this to be cut out. Yeah. I'm just going to control click this. No, I'm going to control click. All right, I'm going to take the whole thing and convert it to a smart object. Then I'm going to control click the whole thing. And then I'm going to do select, modify, expand. And I'm going to go pretty big, but not crazy. Like we're going to go 30. Yep. I don't like how that's messing with that years of service. Let's grab years of service. Let's group it. We'll call it years of. I'm going to scooch it. I don't want the selection. Deselect. I'm going to scooch it off. And then we're going to try that selection again. Let's grab that 40. Select, modify, expand. We're going to go 30 pixels. And then, yeah, I like how that's going to delete the years just right. So now we're just going to do a layer mask on this. I'm going to convert this years to a smart object. And then I'm going to do layer mask, hide selection. So it's just chopped out of that. And I really don't love how that is. Okay, so, but I'm okay with it. Yeah, we're just going to let that go. And then we're going to do select, reselect. And we're going to grab Texas. And we're going to do a layer mask. Hide selection. So it's chopped out there. And then we're going to do select, reselect. And we're going to find our building. Where is our building? There she is. And it's already got a mask. So we're just going to select the mask. And we're going to grab our brush tool. And we want to paint, black. And we're just going to paint that out. Boom. Let's look at our mock-up. We might be done. There's our concept. Where's our mock-up? Alright, so there's our mock-up. There's our artwork. I think we did it, ladies and gentlemen. And I think it looks great. Pretty much followed the I think I'm calling that done. I mean, we didn't do these little gold bars on either side of the unlimited concepts. That's the only thing that I see. Let's finish that. All right, so we're going to do Control 1. Get this brush smaller. Actually, Control 0 to see the whole thing. And we're just going to draw these bars in. So we're just going to grab our rectangle tool, if I can find it. There it is, rectangle tool. We're going to set some radius. We're going to go with a 40px radius. We're going to pick our color. That didn't seem to work, and I'm not sure why. That's fine. So we're going to go right here. We're going to find our concepts. Things are getting complicated. This is why we stay organized. All right. I'm going to try to pick that color with that layer selected. That worked. Great. And we're just going to draw a bar here. And our fill is wrong, so we're going to use this recent color. We don't want any stroke. And we can use a ruler, so we can select our black bar, and we can use a ruler, and then we can grab our concepts. Actually, I kind of like that just a little in. So I'm just going to duplicate the layer. Oops, I duplicated the wrong layer. Sorry. Let's duplicate this layer. And let's slide it over. We're going to eyeball it. Oh no, it's going to give us it gave us a spot. And we grab both of these, group them, and then I'm going to center it to the canvas. And it was centered, so it's perfect. So I'm just going to ungroup them. And we'll just move all these, and we'll group all these, and we'll call this concepts. Okay. Guys, I think it's done. And I think that we may check the post again and see exactly what size. Oh, she said 15 inches in the post. Okay, great. So we are going to save this Mamma Jamma. That is saved. We're going to collapse some things up here so that it just works a little better. A little easier to understand the PSD if somebody comes back in. We'll go ahead and collapse up artwork. We're going to save it one more time. And then we're going to turn off this background. We're going to merge visible. No, size it. Let's trim it. Okay, we're trimmed. We're going to size it. So we're going to go 15 inches. And that doesn't beat my rule of being no taller than 19. So 15 by 16. Okay, we're going to hit OK. We are going to merge the visible. Just watch for changes when you do stuff like that. Layer mask from transparency. Alt-click. Image. Adjustments. Threshold. OK. File. Export. Quick export as PNG. We are going to call it Unlimited 40 Back 4500 PX RTP mic. All right, that's it. Well done. If you watch this all this way, you're amazing. You've learned so much. I know you have. And just go forth and be fruitful and multiply. That's all I ask. Love you guys. Take care.